Disney Channel, where you go from being a normal kid in Texas to being broadcast to every living room on the planet as Disney Channel's newest star.
4 weeks ago, I was an everyday teenager living in Texas, but I got the chance to live out my dream by being cast on Disney Channel's next big show, The Sweet Life on Deck.
This exact once-in-a-lifetime scenario happened to today's subject, Debby Ryan, being handpicked from a large pool of aspiring actors and actresses while not only surviving, but rising to the tippy top of the Disney Channel. But at what cost? Kids can be cruel, and when the kids watching you grow into teenagers, you're vulnerable to becoming an online laughingstock. Debby Ryan's memes completely overshadowed her prolific career as a television and movie actress, and her digital footprint was ravaged by the very audience who made her the star she used to be. And behind the scenes, even more was popping off. Debby Ryan even allegedly got caught up in one of the most toxic internet relationships of all time.
Hi, I'm Poppy.
So join me as I take a deep dive into the digital downfall of Debby Ryan. First, hello everyone, my name is Jake and this is Secret Society. Someone in the comments of my airplane thriller video said that this channel feels like true Hollywood stories for Gen Z, and I love that. That being said, thank you for all the love on my new videos. I've been trying to post more for y'all and you have all responded so positively, and I just had so much fun making these and going through your comments and seeing what y'all have to say about it, because these are the things that I'm thinking about right now. That's why this channel isn't as edited as Deep Dive. A lot of times those will be ideas that I have and then it'll take 2 weeks to edit the videos, so it's not as fresh in my mind whenever it comes out. But these videos are what is in my mind right now. So be sure to follow me on Instagram at JX3gram if you have an idea for a video. Y'all were really asking for this one, so I thought that I would go with the one that y'all suggested the most. Anyway, let's get into the hectic rise and awkward fall of Debby Ryan. On May 13th, 1993, Debby Ryan was born to Chris and Sandy Ryan. Her mother, Sandy, was a teacher who's active in school plays, and her father was in the military. Now, every early article I was able to find highlighting Debby Ryan was framing her as a new Christian taking over Hollywood. This article from The Crosswalk reading, "The Disney star of The Sweet Life on Deck has a story too often told among Christians. Her parents loved the Lord and brought her to church every Sunday. She tuned out her pastor as he preached week after week, and only half-heartedly memorized her scripture verses. But she had a candid conversation with God, saying, quote, 'God, no disrespect, but how am I supposed to have a relationship with you? I mean, people talk to you and sing to you, so if I'm meant to be with you, let me feel you beyond a shadow of a doubt. I felt his presence like he was sitting next to me. God was like, don't you understand? I want to love you. I created you. I sacrificed for you, and I want to spend time with you.' End quote. It was then that Debby gave her life to the Lord, but she has also received criticism for her choices. She chose not to date until she was 18, not drink at parties, and has even started a Bible study amongst other Christians. So needless to say, she was in a Christian household, one that was gonna turn their baby into a star. The Debby Ryan timeline leading up to The Sweet Life on Deck is actually much faster than I previously thought. See, much like Selena Gomez, Debby Ryan not only came out of Dallas, Texas, but she also got her start on the children's television show Barney in 2006, leaving Barney in 2007. But the very next year, in 2008, directly after the Writers Guild strike halted all production of Disney Channel shows, the network would conduct a nationwide talent search to find the next Disney Channel star. They weren't only looking to fill the role of Bailey Pickett on the new Sweet Life spinoff titled Sweet Life on Deck, but they were also looking for a star they could transition out of the Sweet Life and onto their own TV show on the Disney Channel. At the time, Ashley Tisdale declined the invitation to be on Sweet Life on Deck in favor of High School Musical 3 and her own personal tour and movie. Brenda Song was dating Trey Cyrus, and if she was going to appear in a spin-off after the Sweet Life on Deck, she was going to definitely want more money. Disney Channel needed to introduce a new star. Also, they wouldn't be solely reliant on the Sprouse twins. If they were, they would be the only characters who would be eligible for a spin-off after the Sweet Life on Deck. And since Disney had their 60-episode rule at the time, the Sweet Life on Deck wasn't going to last that long. Thus, Disney would begin casting brand new talent like Debby Ryan, so they could give the themselves a slew of options for a possible spin-off. Not to mention, Debby Ryan wasn't famous yet. They wouldn't have had to pay her as much if they opted to do a spin-off of The Sweet Life on Deck, since her career would be pretty much reliant on whether the Disney Channel wanted to continue to cast her or not. Out of thousands and thousands of kids, Debby Ryan was cast on The Sweet Life on Deck, and Disney Channel would craft an entire narrative about how she was cast, premiering multiple commercials framing it like Debby won a contest. And now all her dreams were coming true.
4 weeks ago, I was an everyday teenager living in Texas, but I got the chance to live out my dream by being cast on Disney Channel's next big show, The Sweet Life on Deck.
When we decided to move forward and do Sweet Life on Deck, we needed another character, and we were incredibly lucky to find the perfect person that we envisioned as Bailey, and her name is Debby Ryan, and she's just joined our Sweet Life family.
As London's roommate.
So I found out that I booked The Sweet Life on Deck, and that I'm going to be, London's new roommate, which I understood from, the audition and the screen test that was a huge role. And I was like, Mom, do you know how big the show is? Do you know how big this is going to be? And she's like, yeah. And we're still surprised.
This was the ultimate advertisement to get new kids interested in being on the Disney Channel, especially when this commercial was airing. It was during 2008, when all of Disney's series were centered on kids becoming famous. This definitely blurred the line between reality, storytelling, and marketing for children. These storylines would create the illusion for kids that if they dragged their parents to the right audition, that they too could become an instant Disney Channel celebrity. And y'all, my sister actually went to one of these when she was younger. I'm not sure if it was the official Disney one. I think it might have actually been a scam, but the advertisement for it did have Demi Lovato and Selena Gomez in it, visually and on their radio ad. So whether or not it was official or not, or if they were just using their likeness without permission, I'll actually never know. I tried to research it and I couldn't find it, but I definitely want to know if any of you auditioned for this Disney Channel talent search and what it was like. I've always been curious. So leave a comment below or DM me. I'll read it in a video if anyone reaches out, because those have always been such an anomaly to me. There's not a lot of footage of the actual casting process other than the auditions themselves. Anyway, The Sweet Life on Deck would premiere to over 5.7 million viewers. Their special Lost at Sea garnered over 7 million viewers as well. But in true Disney Channel fashion, the series truly peaked when Disney Channel premiered their crossover event, Wizards on Deck with Hannah Montana, which garnered over 10.6 million viewers, becoming one of Disney Channel's most viewed TV programs ever. Needless to say, the show was a massive hit, and I think it's safe to say that Debby Ryan comes from the heart of the golden age of the Disney Channel. I mean, she was acting right alongside Miley Cyrus. Like Cyrus. Where Selena and Demi would take years in between Barney and Disney Channel, Debby Ryan would come off Barney in 2007 and immediately be thrown into The Sweet Life on Deck in 2008. The very next year. Now, she would star in a few commercials in 2008, but her career was mostly focused on the projects that Disney Channel provided to her. Well, that and PureFlix. Now, I've gotten into PureFlix multiple times at this point, and I know them from their God's Not Dead series, but Debby would star in a movie called What If? The way that she was able to do other independent films while she was working with Disney really reminds me of whenever Victoria Justice and the Sprouse twins were in that Appletown movie. In like extreme HD, like super nice cameras, even for back then I was like, oh my gosh, this aged kind of well. But for Debby to be in religious films, I feel like Disney's kind of actually letting that happen and turning a blind eye to it because it's Christian.
We didn't know when I signed on for this. I thought it was going to go straight to DVD. I had no idea it was going to have a big premiere and all sorts of things. So it's cool. Kind of setting up for it. I'm like, oh, it's this little independent film. It's probably going to go to DVD in like 3 bookstores. But I love the script and I have to do it. And I love the director. And as I filmed the movie, I just fell more and more in love with the entire crew and the cast, and I'm so glad that we're able to kind of relive and come back together exactly a year later and kind of watch everything come together.
I know they've had a tumultuous relationship with the Christian community, but at this time, the Disney Channel was fairly conservative. But that's what makes the Can't Be Tamed era so sick, the way they fed Miley to those wolves, fully funding the entire project that they distanced themselves from. I will never forgive them for. Anyway, I just have to assume Debby Ryan's schedule at this time must have been wild. I mean, she's acting in a Christian movie, filming Sweet Life on Deck, going to every red carpet possible, and trust me, we're gonna get to those interviews.
So you're doing the gangster rapper thing tonight?
But it makes me wonder if these sets were actually following labor laws. Now, we've gotten into this in our Dark Side of the Disney Channel video over on Deep Dive, but a lot of these TV shows don't actually follow child labor laws. And I honestly feel like it's the same effect as having a lot of homework when you're in high school. Like, your teachers don't actually communicate with each other, so I feel like these sets don't communicate with each other how much these kids are actually working. And especially back then, it seems like they were all just on a 24/7 work cycle. Demi Lovato has explained this very scenario scenario multiple times in multiple documentaries. And with her very similar upbringing to Debby Ryan, coming off Barney, it's easy to believe that Debby was having a similar schedule. From guest starring in the Jonas Brothers show Living the Dream, to Mighty Med, to Zeke and Luther, and many more. Disney Channel even having Debby guest star as herself on Mitchell Musso's short-lived Punk'd knockoff titled Prank Stars, So Random after Demi left, and even the Copper Top Flop Show, another short-lived comedy starring Caleb Worthy from Austin and Ally. But Debby Ryan's real first break as a solo star would come in the form of 2 movies. One of the best Disney Channel original movies ever, 16 Wishes, and one of the worst, titled Radio Rebel. Do yourself a favor, if you haven't seen 16 Wishes, go to Disney Plus and stream it right now. It's one of the best Disney Channel original movies. I'm not even trying to overhype it. The storytelling and the acting, it feels like an actual classic movie. Like, it's giving 13 going on 30, and I definitely think they were going for that considering the title sounding so much like 16 Candles. But Radio Rebel was a little different. Now, I don't know about y'all, I actually remember liking that movie back in the day, and I don't even want to confess this, but I definitely watched it multiple times. I don't know why. I think it just kept me on the edge of my seat. I liked that she was living a double life. I was definitely into like Hannah Montana vibes back then, so I was like, oh my gosh, anything where she's like keeping a huge secret. Both of these movies actually had decent viewership and showed the Disney Channel that Debby Ryan could star as a solo actress in a huge project and actually make the channel money. So in 2011, Debby Ryan would level up when she would be made the producer and star of her own show after The Sweet Life ended. Disney Channel would name the show Jessie and make Debby a nanny to a group of wealthy children. Now, there was plenty of drama behind the scenes of Jessie, and I just went into a very detailed analysis over in my Sky Jackson video, so be sure to watch that one if you haven't, but I'll give a brief rundown here. Jessie was a commercial success that would not only feature the first ever Disney Channel engagement, making Disney Channel history, but also a new slew of characters that would dominate the Disney Channel deep into the 2020s. Behind the scenes, actresses Debby Ryan and Sky Jackson had a very tense relationship. Sky Jackson's Twitter account insinuated that Debby was rude to her on set, and Debby penned a long Tumblr post explaining that child stars should be grateful that they get to come into work every day, saying it makes sense that Sky would be jealous of her because she's the main star and the producer of the show that Sky is a supporting actress on. So that's basically all the drama. There's a lot more details over in the Sky Jackson video, but Jessie would debut with plenty of viewership. Millions of viewers from The Sweet Life on Deck funneling into the new premiere of Jessie, and they would utilize this to the very bitter end. Jessie would have 4 Disney Channel crossover events, and they are definitely the most outlandish ones we've talked about. And yes, I'm including the Good Luck Charlie Shake It Up special. That one was wild, but at least we saw Amy Duncan dancing. I'll start with the most popular Austin and Jessie and Ally All-Star New Year. This had stars from Austin and Ally and Jessie, premiering on December 7th, 2012, and attracting approximately 4.8 million viewers, making it the second highest rated cable broadcast of that entire year. The second was Good Luck Jessie NYC Christmas. This crossover between Good Luck Charlie and Jessie aired on November 29th, 2013, and the viewership numbers for the special weren't public, which makes me think they weren't anything to write home about. The next one, Halloween Night at the Museum, is actually really interesting. I've been researching for videos on every single star of Jessie, and every single time I look at one of their IMDb's, they have one for Ultimate Spider-Man, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, was this because Zendaya was in it? Like, what is going on? I know Disney owns Marvel, but why is Debby Ryan playing Jessie Prescott in Ultimate Spider-Man? Like, I didn't care to click, but I actually did for this video, and they animate all the Jessie characters into the Spider-Man universe. And I know that sounds like a fever dream, but I actually think this one is even more of a fever dream. I was like 13 years old watching this, probably way too old to be watching Disney Channel, but I remember these commercials, and I feel like you will too if you were watching Disney Channel at the time. Jessie's Aloha Holidays with Parker and Joey. Now, I've been working on a video about Dove Cameron for a while now as well. She's one of my favorite Disney Channel stars ever. I love her song Boyfriend. I love her other new song. I think she's so talented. I love Ariana Grande. I am an Arianator to the end, but I think if Ariana was cast as Alphaba, Dove Cameron would have been an amazing Glinda. Anyway, this Jessie Aloha Holidays with Parker and Joey combined Liv and Maddie's 2 brothers and all of the Jessie cast, airing in the second to last season of Jessie. Jessie would come to an end in October of 2015, with Debbie's character moving to Hollywood because she was cast in a movie. Mr. Mosby was even in this season, and the episode he was in ended with him calling Cody, saying that Jessie looked just like Bailey. But before Debby Ryan would become a Hollywood mainstay, life would hit Debby like a bag of bricks. In 2015, before Jessie even ended, Debby Ryan would come out about an abusive relationship she would suffer through during the filming of Jessie, telling People magazine, quote, "I was in a friendship, kind of a working relationship, and it ended up becoming more more and more destructive and getting emotionally and mentally abusive. I was like, I'm a powerful woman and I'm a producer. I never thought that this was happening to me, and it was absolutely happening to me. It was kind of late in the game by the time that I realized this was not healthy. This was not a good situation, and that I was in a relationship that in nature was abusive. He chased me out of the room, grabbed me, put me back in the room, and followed me to my car and took my keys. I was like, okay, fine, get in the car, you can come with me. He was like, no, you're gonna drive away and leave me here. He ended up grabbing my keys and holding onto my wrists and crawling into the passenger side from my driver's side so I couldn't drive away. End quote. People magazine explains that while Debbie and her abuser weren't in a romantic relationship, this man would call Debbie up to 40 times a day, becoming so obsessed with her that she eventually bought him a hotel room to live in after he tried to move in with her. Quote, that was literally just for sleeping, so we would see each other every day, hours a day, month on month on month. And finally, I was like, all right, I can't do this anymore. The final straw would come when this man threatened to unalive himself if she didn't spend more time with him. Debbie continuing saying, I realized I'd done everything that I could do. It's not my purpose to sacrifice my own happiness and sacrifice my own mental health so that this guy doesn't overdose. I called someone and had someone go and be with him, and I removed myself from the situation, and I realized he's no longer mine to deal with.
I knew at the time that it wasn't right, but I didn't ever classify it as that. We weren't married. We weren't in a house together. It wasn't what you know, and I felt so strong in my career at the time that I was experiencing this. And it was just, it went on for so long and escalated and became physical. And I just kind of kept making excuses for it. And at some point, I had to get it out of my life and fought really hard to get it out of my life and got him away from me, my family, my life. And 2 years later, I'm now thinking about it and realizing that that's what this was, and kind of realizing that I wish that I had someone to talk to at the time. And I am very fortunate I had a person or two in my life who was fighting for me in this, who didn't know it as bad as it was, but were just like, do you need out of this? Say the word and I will help you. And I don't know what I would have done had I not had that.
At a time where it was such a struggle just to feel like I was worth fighting for. And I would go on red carpet and people would be like, what's it like for you? And like, I admire this friendship and this relationship and whatever. And I didn't realize that I had such a warped view of certain things, and I'd allowed certain things to become okay. And so for me, talking about it has only reinforced with me, A, how thankful I am for the healthy, beautiful relationships that I'm in now. It's helped me know which friendships even are worth letting go of. If it feels like it's constantly a fight, it's constantly dramatic, it's like emotionally exhausting to even think about hanging out with this person you have to take a nap before, like maybe not a friend that it's worth spending all of your emotional energy on.
A light bulb go off suddenly and saying, I gotta stop justifying?
Yeah, a phone was thrown at me and it was broken, and I was screamed at and cussed and grabbed by the wrist, and I was like, you know, he threatens to take a bunch of pills and storms out of my house, and I let him leave. He broke his phone and then he blamed me for it. And
you're making me do this. Yeah.
Correct. And so, you know, for me it was like at that point that it was just kind of like, you know, I'm gonna let you leave because I'm too emotionally exhausted to do anything else. And
while Debbie kept the man anonymous, the internet would start looking back through who this man possibly could have been. Some speculating that the man was Josh Dunn from 21 Pilots, as him and Debbie got together in 2013, and around the time of this article's release, they were broken up. But most people speculated that the perpetrator was Titanic Sinclair. For those of you who don't know who Titanic Sinclair is, he's a musician best known for his lawsuit with ex-girlfriend Mars Argo, and for dating, managing, and allegedly manipulating YouTube sensation and pop singer Poppy. According to Poppy Wiki, Debby Ryan has been continually one of Poppy's closest friends. Now, I went on a hunt for pictures of them together and even found out Poppy was an extra on an episode of Jessie. Needless to say, the pair were very close, even going to Katy Perry's Prismatic World Tour together. But here's when it gets interesting. When Poppy broke up with Titanic Sinclair in 2019, the manipulation she described sounded just like what Debbie described, explaining that he glamorizes unaliving himself and often dangled it over Poppy's head as a form of manipulation. Now, there are numerous videos about Titanic Sinclair. Poppy, and Mars Argo that I suggest you go watch. Needless to say, the story Debbie shared with People magazine ruffled enough feathers behind the scenes that Debbie went back to the magazine for a round 2, explaining that her boyfriend and the friend that she was talking about in the article both reached out thinking it was about them. Debbie explains that her ex texted her saying, "I had been wanting to get a text from this person for a year, saying that he wanted us to be okay and be friends. And the one that I get from them is, quote, 'How dare you speak about this abusive relationship? Because you know that people are going to think it's about me.'" Keep in mind, the article wasn't even about her ex. It was about her abuser whom she'd never had a romantic encounter with. So the man reaching out was not even the person she was talking about, but a lot of people seem to think it was. So that makes me think it could have been Josh Dunn from 21 Pilots saying this, but that's purely speculation. Now, the man who the article was allegedly about reached out to Debbie as well. Debbie telling People magazine, quote, "I have a very, very strict do not talk to me policy for this person." He sent a 5-page handwritten letter a few months after the campaign came out and was like, "I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I had affected you in this way. What I realized is that when someone has a manipulative and insecure mind that can physically hurt you and lock you in rooms and do things like that, it's hard to reason with that person. And I realized that I don't need that. I just don't need this person in my life. I've gotten closure." Now, shout out to the r/thatpoppy Reddit for drawing these conclusions. Users over there corroborated the story, saying Poppy used to appear in Debby Ryan's old Vine. One alleging that Debbie is the reason Poppy even ever got introduced to Titanic in the first place, because Poppy and Debbie allegedly lived together. Now, I was unable to confirm any of this, but it makes this entire B-side storyline so much more interesting. I mean, I was shocked to find out Raven Simone and Lindsay Lohan were roommates when they were on Disney, but hearing one of the main stars of the Disney Channel get caught up in this YouTube drama is actually unbelievable. Anyway, this was all in 2015 as Jessie was ending and Bunked was in development. It would take Debbie years to get on another pop culture mainstay as big as Jessie, and that would come in the controversial form of Insatiable, a story of an overweight teenager who gets her jaw wired shut, gets skinny, and has a wild adventure through the beauty pageant world of the South. Now, this Netflix show was met with major criticism, and while it had multiple seasons, it was very damaging to Debbie's acting career. Thanks Selena Gomez creating 13 Reasons Why. So now that we've gone through Debby Ryan's entire Disney Channel history, this is where her digital downfall comes into play. Around 2019, when 2000s nostalgia culture really started kicking up, people began researching Disney Channel stars and their old interviews. Throughout the numerous TV shows and guest appearances that Debby Ryan starred in, she had numerous clips that would catch people's attention for all the wrong reasons. Now, I'm not going to go through every single interview, but I am going to take a deep dive on the big 3. The first one being at Justin Bieber's Never Say Never premiere, the second one sitting down with the leader of the Disney Channel, and the third and final one will be her septum ring hair change with her new Burning Man persona.
Oh my gosh, okay, I have never seen, I thought I know Debby Ryan, but
What is this face?
Debby Ryan.
Debby Ryan? That's all I got. I don't know.
So yeah, this is an uncomfortable and awkward interview that's just focusing on the randomness of 2010. But what's really random is when Justin Bieber walks by and Debby Ryan kind of low-key refuses to leave the interview. In her defense, they do ask her to stay, but oh my gosh. See, look, there's Usher walking by and they ask her what she would say to Usher.
Having worn so many different varieties of things that I can wear black and still be cool about it.
Usher's behind us. Hello, Usher. Oh my gosh, what would you say to Usher?
I would say, one less lonely girl. Look at him go. I am one less lonely girl now, Usher.
They're like asking her live reactions of these celebrities as they're walking by. Since it's a Justin Bieber premiere for his new movie, they ask Debby Ryan how she found out about Justin Bieber, and she tells this elaborate story about how she knew about him when he was just on YouTube before he was famous. Debbie just seems like the type to always have a story about how she found something before it became super popular.
Actually, when he was like, I was 14. It was like the first or second season of Sweet Life. So when I went around and talking to our like stand-ins and background actors, I was like, look at this dude. I was like, this kid is ripping. So I brought my friend actually to this premiere who I first mentioned him to when I was like 14. I was like, this kid's banging on an acoustic guitar on the fretboard like it's nothing. Amazing. And so I showed it to him. We geeked out over him. His music video came out. We were so proud.
Oh, that's really nice of Debbie to be so proud of him. Like, what is this? She was proud of him?
Have you met him yet?
I met him super quickly at Kids' Choice, I believe.
Remember this, because Justin Bieber himself is about to ask her, and she has a different answer.
He was taking a picture with the Jonas Brothers.
Okay.
The Jonases on one side.
What about like a big power group?
Oh my goodness. And literally, I walked in right after Demi, And then the Jonases walk in
Oh
and
gosh,
go in.
it's all happening.
Debbie definitely is only saying that story of meeting Justin Bieber so she can name drop like 5 other Disney stars so she can put herself in that group. But then Gibby comes up behind her and the newscaster's like, oh my gosh, it's happening.
Demi. And then the Jonases walk in
Oh
and
gosh,
go in.
it's all happening.
I know it's Justin Bieber on the side, but I love that the reaction happens as soon as Noah Monk walks behind her. Like, no.
Debbie,
Here it is.
Debbie, we have the beeps down here. Are you freaking
Oh
out?
my God, look at his jacket.
Oh my
So
gosh.
much swag on that kid. He like bleeds swag.
Oh my gosh, it's starting, y'all. This is where the interview should have ended. They should have said, okay, Justin Bieber's about to be here. Thank you so much for this interview. We have to, move on because this is what the premiere is. We have to get an interview with the star of the movie. There's a polite way to go about these things without having to just, give someone the complete boot. Like we've seen so many times on the red carpet recently.
What are you considering saying? Like, I'm trying to think of what I'll say.
I would say, make me one less lonely girl. Can I say that?
You can say it right here.
Can I really say that? Justin, if you can hear me. Justin, you're right there. Make me one less lonely girl.
No, I hate this shot of her talking about him while he's in earshot right there. Not too much on Debbie, but I think this video is a good testament to how people really didn't treat Justin Bieber like a person. And he was literally just a teenager.
Crazy or
This is
what?
not gonna go well. I really hope he sees this on YouTube and is just really uncomfortable by it.
Her self-awareness in all these interviews just makes them so much more painful because she's missing like a very specific key, a very specific ingredient of self-awareness. Like she knows what's happening in the moment is super uncomfortable, but she's not doing anything to stop it.
What is going to happen now?
I feel like I'm about to get tackled.
Please be careful. People.
All right, guys, he's a foot away.
I couldn't be here without them.
Thank you. I love it. Could you say what's the cure for people?
There's no cure.
Thank you.
What does never say never mean to you, Justin?
It means that, hello,
Hey,
how are
you?
Nice to meet you. Have I met you
Good
before?
to meet you. I don't.
Flashback.
Have you met him yet?
I met him super quickly at Kids Choice, I believe.
Nice to meet you. Have I met you
Good
before?
to meet you. I don't.
Debbie Ryan. Disney. I'm sorry, yes.
The way she just stands there staring at him, he's like low-key asking like, who are you? Why are you here?
All right, so
Never say never mean to you.
never say never means just never give up on your dreams and, anything's possible.
Thank you. Justin, what would you
Right?
take? What would you
The way he moves out of the way after she starts chiming in. No.
Anything's possible.
Thank you. Justin, what would you
Right?
take?
Also, there only being like one microphone and Debbie just awkwardly standing there saying nothing. Like, girl, I hate to say it, it would have been so much less awkward if you just remove yourself.
How young people who want to get into entertainment.
Oh my gosh. I want to say that,
I'm just listening now.
Still making her presence far too known.
I'm just listening now.
everything is in your power and you got to work hard and anything is possible.
I think this is the moment Justin realized he's on Clever News with Debby Ryan at his movie premiere.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Right?
Congratulations. What's it like producing your own?
The way they're still asking him questions and he just walks away. I mean, I get it, it's his movie premiere, but oh my gosh, that is the most uncomfortable interview. That might be top 10 most uncomfortable interviews of all time.
Congratulations. What's it like producing your own? OMG. Debbie Ryan. Did that just happen? Did that really just happen?
He's a solid dude.
You know what? I'm going to give you half my paycheck because you deserve it.
I feel like just a hug from the Biebs is my payment. And it's a really soft jacket.
Okay, so minus all the obvious cringeworthy moments here, Debby Ryan is an actress. Every facial expression she makes is intentional. So just watch these interviews like that. Obviously, this is her Disney era, so she's trying to come across like literal Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez, Bridget Medler copies, all stemming from the Holy Bible of Hilary Duff herself. But this innocent, big, wide-eyed, doughy, blank stare that she turns out in the middle of interviews when it's just not even the time to turn that out is definitely in the Debby Ryan facial expression Hall of Fame.
What did it feel like? What did that hug feel like?
What did the hug feel like? Oh, that's great. Can you tweet that for me?
There's a photo of the hug.
You guys, I just get really uncomfortable by just being called out for things like this. I feel like now we're best friends.
She's going for the crazy ex-girlfriend's comedy route, but it's like, this is not your tight five. This is an interview. But maybe that's why she's famous. Maybe she treats everything like it's her tight five. Speaking of which, the next interview I'm going to be looking at is a little bit later in Debbie's career with a little bit more grown-up Debby Ryan. And if you've ever seen her memes, you're going to recognize this interview. Because without a doubt, this is the most viral interview that she has ever had.
I feel like you haven't answered this. What
is one game that no one should challenge you at, whether it's a sport or a board game or a video game?
This happened the other day, throwing things and catching them in my mouth. My friend was like trying to do it and was like, can you do it? And I was like, oh. And it was awesome. I was a beast and I was very proud of myself. So.
There's so much to unpack here. I'm pretty sure the only thing more 2012 than this would literally be Gangnam Style itself. But y'all get up. This is the part you've been waiting for. Disney Channel history is about to be made.
Any message for your fans on why they should tune into Jessie, all the stuff coming up?
Yeah, we have really big stuff coming up. We have the first ever Disney Channel engagement, first ever Disney Channel wedding. There's a very epic thing.
Can we get rid of the word thing? I hate when people have just done a thing, or when someone's like, guys, I just did a thing. Like, what do you want, a cookie? I understand randomness was big in 2011 and 12, so that's why everyone was just doing things, but I feel like a concerning amount of the population didn't get the update that we're done doing things and that we're done with randomness. Like, it was funny on iCarly, but it died when that show died.
Pearson Faudet, my lovely fake fiance, is a good friend of mine and totally swoony, so watch for him. But yeah, it'll be fun. It's gonna be a very epic. I wanted to make, my one thing was.
Okay, I know this is the money shot and I'm gonna stop interrupting because this interview is literally only 30 seconds long. But the way she gears herself up for this mic drop moment, like, I just have to run that back.
It's going to be a very epic. I wanted to make, my one thing was I went into the Disney Channel building and I sat down with the president of Disney Channel and I said, I want to make history. And that's what this is.
What does she mean? Like, okay, at the first engagement, you win? I guess it's kind of wild for one of the main characters to get engaged, but yeah, I don't know. I think this might have been blown out of proportion. But honestly, this era of Disney Channel is one of my favorites. I mean, just watch the end credits of this interview alone. Laura Morano and Rainey Rodriguez are fighting for their lives.
And that's what this is.
What is your go-to bad dance?
So many. I do the shopping cart one. Fifth Harmony's next to us right now. I love Fifth Harmony. They're awesome. We could be Seventh Harmony. Michelle Obama. Oh yeah. Get your boss on, girl.
Get your boss on, girl. Like, these interviews are gold. You can't make this up. Also, Laura Morano just killing the vibe off to the side. I know I come for her neck in every single video, but I will be making a video explaining everything very soon. Anyway, this next and second to last era of Debby Ryan that we're going to be taking a look at dives more into the Burning Man festival side of things. Debby Ryan dyed her hair, got a septum ring, and instantly transformed her personality into a mysterious nomadic festival goer. I don't know.
A couple friends and I went this morning, like at 4 in the morning, we went to Salvation Mountain in the desert. And like just decided that we just needed to get out of LA. And
we just needed to escape from LA in our VW minibus and our lanterns. Like, tell me you're listening to too much Lana without telling me. And this gets so much worse.
So we went and like drove around in the desert and ate like crappy diner food and like we're sitting on the like Salton Sea and then drove back and threw my hair up and zipped into a gown and here I am. I feel like I've lived a lot of lives today.
This whole singer-songwriter vibe of like, we just got in our car and drove because we make good music. It reminds me so much of that Jennifer Lopez documentary when she talks about throwing her hair up.
I like taking my hair out like this. It reminds me like when I was 16 in the Bronx, running up and down the block. A crazy little girl who used to be wild and no limits, all dreams and
drove back and threw my hair up and zipped into a gown and here I am. I feel like I've lived a lot of lives today.
Oh my God, are you always on the go and like doing spontaneous things?
It scares me to be still.
I like when she furrows her eyebrows because she doesn't like how she's being perceived. She's like, oh, you wouldn't just assume I'm always doing this? Was it not coming off? Like, this is just my random Tuesday afternoon?
Oh my God, are you always on the go and like doing spontaneous things?
It scares me to be still. It's terrifying, yeah.
But usually quirky people who make people feel uncomfortable in interviews hold the silence. She has to laugh at herself because she knows how ridiculous it sounds.
What do you like to do like in your free time?
Go to Salvation Mountain. I don't have a lot of free time, so when I do, it's stuff like that. It's like, all right, let's go. Let's just go on a road trip. Let's hang out at the house. I play a lot of Mario Kart on N64. I do that at my house. It's not.
She's really living the fantasy right now. She's like, next club, another bus, another festival.
Bus, club, another club, another club.
Another ayahuasca trip, another life realization, another midlife crisis, another bus, another interview.
It's not anything interesting that you want to know. It's just Mario Kart and my kittens, and I make a lot of tea.
Also, I know her septum ring isn't helping, but her next comment feels a little polyamorous to me. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Is that your date tonight?
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine.
Oh, so nice.
Yay.
So you have different hair and you're like always really cool and trendy. So how do you like, what is like your hairstyle? Like do you like to change it a lot? Like
I wash it once like a week.
This can definitely be good for your hair, but Debbie's just saying it because she thinks it sounds gross. Like she just wants to add to this persona of being unwashed, unkempt, with her septum ring, ready to burst into a Sundance film at any given moment.
And yeah, I change it every time I feel like I'm becoming a different version of myself and I want to explore what that looks like. And so the kind of like icy white blonde is a different version of, you know, it's me sitting and writing music. And
okay, so I haven't ever really gotten into Debby Ryan's music. The only song I've ever heard her sing is Say My Name with Ashley Tisdale.
I have a very special guest. She is my ultimate girl crush and spirit animal, Debby Ryan.
Ashley, stop, I'm right here.
We're super excited, but we have a classic for you today, and I can't wait for y'all to hear it. It's Say My Name.
Yes, Say My Name.
If you took it there, first of all, let me say.
Why are they singing like this? They don't sing like this.
Let me say.
How are you?
I'm good. Let me say, I am not the one to sit around and be played.
Find the note. Find the note.
Something's going down, that's the way you see. There shouldn't be no reason why you're acting straight. Nobody's holding you back from me.
So I did do a quick Google search of Debby Ryan's music career, and it seems like all she's really known for is her music with the Disney Channel. And this is not to diss autotune, because honestly I listened to so many songs with so much autotune, but wasn't the Jessie theme song pretty heavily produced?
Turning around, shaking the ground, down, down, down.
So like, not bad, but definitely not Whitney Houston. And hey, you don't have to be Whitney Houston. I'm sure Debby Ryan was going for more of like an Echo Smith vibe back then, but she dives a little more into her music in this interview, so let's just see what she says.
There are so many people that, and my brother's a music producer, I have been writing music without a label, like literally buying Taco Bell and sleeping in the studio and like selling old things for gear and like making this album happen just out of our pockets.
Debby Ryan is really a chameleon depending on what year it is. Like we're gonna watch an interview here in a second where it's from 2023 and she sounds exactly like everything from that year too.
We like things that look like other things. And his brother, Jordan, who's one of our best friends, his girlfriend is a really talented sculptor out of Germany. And we had the opportunity to commission a bust. And there was only one option for us. Mr. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Can I get you something to drink? There you go. This is an aqua bag. I like it because I think the pattern looks like blood, and it's filled with water like sweat, and it's shaped like a tear. All right, so this is the dude cave. When we bought the house, it was called the man cave, and Josh was like, we call each other dude. We tattooed dude on each other in each other's handwriting. He's like, it's for both of us, it's the dude cave.
And I think the dude room sums up the rest of this entire video. Honestly, I'm glad for them that they're happy. She will always be a millennial tastemaker, and there's nothing wrong with that. And before I go, I am starting to shout out a comment from my previous video every time I upload. This week's comment goes to Danny Latrice 6266 saying, I'm still in shock. She is dating that guy from my home city and got pregnant by him. Sheesh. And y'all, this was referring to Sky Jackson in my last video. Y'all definitely want to go check that out if you haven't, along with my Zendaya and Bella Thorne videos. If you want to keep up with all my videos, be sure to follow me on Instagram at JX3gram. And DM me any video ideas you have. I'm serious about that, y'all, because I want to know what y'all want to see. So even if I've already said it or mentioned it, y'all let me know what you want to see right now. Anyway, I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.